Hi, my name is Rupert Miller and I'd like to welcome you to my new website here in Poland, Englishman.pl. Today's story is all about language and how important it is to respect other people's languages and indeed to learn them as well. Unfortunately, I have a difficult relationship with Polish as it's extremely problematical for me, pronunciation being the biggest problem, but that's another story for another day. Today's story revolves around, as I said, language. In 1994, the Polish government declared via an act of parliament that by the end of 1996, all sales done in a retail outlet, such as a shop, must be recorded on a piece of paper with a copy for the taxman. This was to try and curtail the cash society that prevailed in Poland at that time. In other words, bring in more revenue for the government. So lots of companies decided that they would then start to import from abroad cash register machines. Now, the company I was working with at that time was a company called Komax, and that was run by a guy called Grzegorz Kowalczyk. And as he was already in the paper business, he decided that he was going to manufacture these little tiny till rolls for the cash machines, and he was going to become the largest manufacturer of till rolls in Poland. So that was his plan. And in order to do this, he needed other people to invest in his company. And so he set up a new business, a new company called Emu Spółka ZOO, and he set about looking for investments. Now, he already had business dealings with a paper company called Haufa, and in turn, they also did business with the Japanese giant Mitsui, who at that stage employed about 75,000 people around the world. So they were seriously big people, big players. So Grzegorz put together a very detailed business plan, and the plan was then to approach Mitsui and ask Mitsui for 250,000 American dollars. That was going to be their investment, he hoped. They were going to be a major partner in Emu, and he was going to become a very rich man. That was the plan anyway. So Grzegorz spent months preparing this business plan, and once it had been completed, he then hired a Polish, English-Polish official translator to translate it into English for the Japanese. So that happened, and once this lady had finished translating, I took over and then turned her manuscript into one that could be understood by the Japanese. In other words, into readable English. Because if you translate a large document directly from Polish into English, it invariably makes no sense whatsoever, or very little anyway. It's like gobbledygook. So it's very important for me at that stage to translate, or not translate, rather interpret what Grzegorz was trying to say to get his message across in English to the Japanese. So I spent a lot of time and days and nights doing this, so it became a readable document, because the Japanese, they spoke very good English but not a word of Polish. So once this was done, we then bound up the papers and we shipped them over to Tokyo, and we waited. About 2 weeks later, good news. The Japanese came back to us and said, yep, they think the whole idea is brilliant and they want to come on board, and they were going to fly over from Tokyo to Poznan, where we were going to meet, and then we were going to go through all the the plans for the factory, meet the staff, and hand over the cash, basically. That's what the plan was. So we prepared for all of this. Anyway, Grzegorz, in his wisdom, decided that it would be a really, really good idea if, when the Japanese arrived here in Poznan, we could speak a little bit of their language to them. And he thought this would be really impressive. So they would arrive we would say something in Japanese and they'd be instantly impressed to make their stay even nicer for them. That was the plan. So Grzegorz said to me, he said, Rupert, during your travels, do you know or have you ever met anybody who can speak Japanese? So do you know anyone who could actually teach us in this very short time we've got to teach us a little bit of Japanese so we can impress the hell out of the Japanese when they arrive? So I said to Grzegorz, yeah, no problem, Grzegorz. No problem at all. I said, in fact, Grzegorz, I can teach you Japanese. Really, Rupert? What do you mean? You speak Japanese? I said, yeah, I speak Japanese really quite well, Grzegorz. Wow, Rupert, he said. You never cease to amaze me with your endless talents. What do we do? I said, well, it's very simple. Get everyone in the boardroom who's going to be at the meetings, and I will teach you some Japanese. He said, okay, fine. So everyone got into the board. So there was Grzegorz, Jacek, his brother, Ella, Agnieszka, Piotr, Beata, and me. So we all assembled in the boardroom, and I said, right, everyone sit down. First Japanese lesson. There are 3 parts to learning Japanese, okay? The first part is you have to pretend you are cold. So you're going, oh, 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 oh. That's the first part. The second part is to pretend that you're having difficulty going to the toilet. And I don't mean number 1s, I mean number 2s. So you're going, oh, 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 And the third and final part to learning Japanese is to pretend you've forgotten something. You are forgetful. So you're going, oh, 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 oh. Japanese. Simple. Now, at this point, I think I should probably apologize to all you sushi lovers and most certainly the entire Japanese race. So, I do apologize. But anyway, that said, see you next time. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I welcome